how did postpartum depression affect your relationship with your baby and your ability to bond in those early months?
I don't think it affected my ability to bond. I mean, I'm listen, I was so happy when I had my son. I'm telling you, like, I had everything that I had, no matter what postpartum looked like for me. Everything that I had, I gave it to my son. It was like, because that's what I had wanted. And especially like after experiencing a miscarriage, it's like, how could I not? So I felt like that was my joy. He really helped me. I always tell him how amazing he is, because he was like the catalyst that I needed in order to change, right? In order to put me on the path where I am now. When my daughter was born, she too did the same thing, but just to a higher level. But I feel like with my son, I always appreciated him, right? Because even when I felt hopeless, even when I didn't know, he was the one that made me feel motivated, right? Like I knew no matter how I felt, no matter what was going on around me, he had to be okay. And I could only make sure that he was okay if I found a way to keep going. So thank God I never had like those experiences with like the inability to bond and stuff like that. I feel like more than anything else, I was super more protective.
Right.
But
I would say that I had the same experience, and actually, interestingly enough, I also had a miscarriage before my baby, about 6 months before. So, same exact feelings. It's like you go through the whole pregnancy, you're scared, you don't want it to happen again, and now the baby's here, and it's like you want to do your best for this child. And on top of that, like, I mean, a lot of people who I've spoken to don't really feel this way, but I feel like it was the same baby both times. So that alone gives me like he was meant to be here. Like, he was fighting to be here, and like you said, it makes me more overprotective. It adds to the anxiety, because it's like, I don't want to mess up my beautiful baby. Like, on top of having my own childhood traumas and my own, like, you don't want to repeat that. And honestly, it's funny to even listen to myself talk like this, because you don't understand how many times, like, I never even wanted to be a mother, just because I was scared that I was gonna mess someone up, as much as I felt like I was messed up. So to know, I mean, not to be cocky, but like to know how good of a mom I am and how much intention I put into taking care of my child, like you said, that is something that is an empowerment that no one else can give you.
Right, for sure.
It's like, wow, there's this thing that I thought I was like too messed up to do. And I'm not.
Right.
Not only am I not too messed up, I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And what else am I good at that I'm holding myself back from because I'm scared?
For sure. Yeah, I definitely agree with you 100%. And that right there was so powerful, because we have our own things that we are all navigating through, trying to get better, right? And then having a child just kind of magnifies that now, because it's like, okay, I even remember from myself, there are things that I had to lay down and put aside, right? Because maybe it benefited me because of the feelings that I had, but I knew that it would take away from his experience. There were relationships that were healed because of that, which created a better experience for him. And I think that is what we all should aim for, and it does give you that. It gives you that battery in your pack.
It really
does. I can do it. Once you get over the hump, and you find a way to navigate through it, because it's not always going to be the same. Some days are easier than others. Some days we still get, even more exhausted or overwhelmed. Those are going to come, right? But when you have that experience behind it, right, where you can see, okay, well, maybe in the first couple of months I was feeling like this, but he's okay. He's doing great. I was feeling so horrible, but look at the results. That does motivate you to keep going. And then, it never stops, before you know it, you can conquer the world.
It's funny that you say that, because that's literally the exact feeling that I would describe. Like, I've had a business idea that I was sitting on for literally 10 years, and it took for a few months after I had my baby for me to finally put it into motion, right? Because it's like, I don't know. I'm scared. I don't have experience. Am I going to fail? Like, but once you get to a point that you're suffering with depression, you had a child, you're managing, it's like, what can I do at this point?
Right.
Even if I fail, what's going to happen?
How bad could it be, right?
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And guess what? I would say that my first year of business, to me, would be a fail, right? But now, I needed it. Because you can't tell me there's nothing that I can't do. Because it wasn't a fail, right? I had to reframe my thinking because now I have so much more experience in business that I didn't have before. And it all starts with me being able to do hard things as a mother every day.
Right.
Because if you can do that, it is so emotionally draining and physically draining and just taxing overall. If you can do that, you can't tell me there's anything that I cannot do if I choose that I want to do it.
Oh, for sure. And I feel like I hope every mother has the opportunity to have that experience. You know, it's like so refreshing, you know, when you have that confidence within yourself. And I totally can relate to that. Like, even for myself, with my daughter, she was like a huge inspiration to me, you know, to venture off. I've always had an interest in business, but having my daughter really propelled me in the area where I wanted to do something that she could be a part of, right? Because, you know, listen, having a son is great, but me having a daughter and having a mini me who looks at me and wants to do everything that I want to do, you know, if you talk to Alea, meet her and talk to her, she's going to tell you that she wants to be a nurse practitioner. You ask her, why do you want to be a nurse practitioner? Oh, like my mommy, you know. So those things help me to draw the motivation. They keep me going, okay? Even when I feel like I don't know how I'm going to do it, or, you know, it just has to get done. So I agree that it is good for us to be able to accept that mindset that we can do it, because, you know, imposter syndrome, all those things try to come in, but when you accept and you believe in yourself, you can conquer the world, you know. And when you do get to that place of motherhood where it's a little bit better and you look back and you're like, look at all those things I've been through and where I am now. It's like you can do everything. That's what I meant earlier when I said I feel like I developed resilience, right? Because failure is not an option. You don't, like, I feel like now I don't look at failure as being what I thought failure was before. You know what I mean? Like, it may not go the way that I thought that I wanted it to go or the way that I planned for it to go, but it will happen. As long as you keep going, as long as you keep trying, it will happen in due time.
Right.
So, I mean, kudos to you, girl.
Girl, listen, I'm trying to practice what's meant for me is for me. And that means failure actually doesn't exist.
Right.
Because if it doesn't work out, it wasn't for you.
Just not the right time.
Exactly.